everyone, this is Sula DePaula here with A Touch of Consciousness. Today we're going to have a chat with Juliana Erickson. Juliana Erickson is a positivity and breathwork coach using forgiveness as the base of how she works with her clients. She has been using this conscious breathwork for more than 25 years. Her traditional training was in psychology and philosophy at Florida State and Vanderbilt universities. She is currently a breathwork training and workshop facilitator, published author, award-winning artist, and social good creator. Although Juliana is an elder with the Presbyterian Church and considers this empowerment work sacred, conscious breathwork is profound and can be successful for everyone. She has studied a varied of world religions along with A Course in Miracles and uses them integrally in her work. Juliana has written 2 books, Activate Your Purpose and Passion in You. It's a 90-day workbook. And the other, Ask Word, 7 days of forgiving anyone. So Juliana has written a book on forgiveness, and today we're going to chat about breathwork, how breathwork facilitates forgiveness, and how we use breath to support folks in forgiving and moving forward. So, welcome, Juliana.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Love being here.
Yes.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Hey,
we're going to do first. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited you're here. I have known you for many years now, and I've always had a very sweet connection with you. I think you're amazing. And the fact that you've been studying and teaching breathwork for 25 years is an inspiration for me. I always appreciate breath workers that don't give up and keep moving forward and keep spreading the knowledge of breath work and circular connected breathing particularly. So before we start, let's take 5 deep grounding breaths so we can use the breath as a way of staying present and connecting with each other. So I invite you to relax your physical body. If you can close your eyes or not. And we're just going to take 5 long, deep breaths. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. And again, inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Now let's do 2 mouth, open mouth breath where we do a little bit of circular connected breath, which is pulling in on the inhalation and relaxing on the exhalation. So it goes like this. Inhale. Beautiful. Thank you so much. One of the reasons I love breathwork so much is it always brings us to present time, to present moment. Each breath happens in the now. So, Juliana, I want to start with the first question, which is, how did breathwork come to your life? How did it start it for you on the breathwork journey?
How did breathwork come to me? Is that what you said? You were cutting out just a touch.
Yes. How was the beginning for you?
Well, actually, forgiveness and breathwork were both at the same time. They both came at the same time. They were like rocket fuel to my life, just like exploded it from that moment. What was going on in my life then? It was like before breathwork and after breathwork. And before breathwork, you know, I was a nice person and I loved life and I was positive and those kinds of things. But I lived kind of I didn't really have touch with the greater world and the depth of who I am and a higher purpose and, you know, all of those things. I didn't have a connection with authenticity, I don't think. And plus I also had no in touch, I was not in touch with my power. I was very unempowered at the time, which I don't mean that as a judgment. It just means I didn't have any conscious understanding of what that meant. That was what my women and my family led. That was their life. Okay. And that led me to a time of where I, over and over again, I had been giving my power up to other people. I was always getting the short end of the stick in circumstances, especially in relationships with men.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one especially big one that I call Saint Craig. I call him Saint Craig because he was the reason I am where I am talking to you right now. He's the reason I have this great life that I love so much. It was horrible at that time, but it led me to this. So it was awesome. And I hit a brick wall with him, to condense the story. I think we all have a version of that, or many of us do, where we lost everything and, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, everything was lost. And it was a time I didn't even want to live, actually. If I didn't have a small son, I wouldn't have even, I really contemplated that. My daughter left, I lost my house, everything. It was a big deal, huge time in my life. And there was one night that I was saying, I've got to put my life back together. I just, when everything had exploded apart, I said, I have to do it again. And I was so embarrassed at all that I had lost to explain it to friends and all of that. And this little voice, and Sula, you know what I'm talking about, how quiet the Holy Spirit, that little tiny voice, when I was saying, I got to put my life back together again, this little tiny voice said, but you don't have to do it the same way. You could do it differently. I mean, it was so quiet, but I was so depressed. I mean, I would bring my son to school and come home and stay in bed all day for weeks. I was so depressed at all of that. So I was gone. And then that little voice comes in. It was so quiet and so powerful and so clear. And it was like a little glimmer of hope in my darkness. And I didn't know what it meant. I just know I wanted to follow that little, and within weeks, breath work came to my house. I had a little guest house in my backyard, and someone needed to, Margot, she was going from city to city breathworking people, and she needed a place to breathwork people. It literally came to my door. Can I use your house in the guest house in the back? I mean, that's how this stuff works.
Amazing.
So once I said yes, that little tiny yes, all of it. So, and from that moment on, I have not, and that was, as you said, over 25 years ago. It was amazing. Oh. So, but and that man taught me about, and we'll talk about forgiveness in a little while, but he's the one that I started with the forgiveness process with. But forgiveness and breathwork, they both came with the same messenger, Margot Powell, my original teacher.
That's beautiful.
Thank you for asking. I love saying her name out loud.
Oh, thank you so much. I love that story. And I think that a lot of us who love breathwork can relate to that. It's almost like breathwork comes in a big transition. And when we're going through difficult times and life changes, we tend to look for things to have a little bit more ease with transitions. And thank you for that. So, Juliana, we're both breath workers, and we have been hearing this word a lot. Breath work is going mainstream. And I like to, get clarity on the breath work that we're talking about. So what kind of breath work do you practice?
The one that you were just showing us, the second one, that in and out, is we call it conscious connected circular breathing. So it's conscious because you're thinking about it. It's circular because in and out are equal lengths. And it's circular because there's also no pause at the top or the bottom, and it's breathe. It's a breath work. When I say breath work, I put it above just breathing, because most people just breathe 20 to 30% capacity. Most people are walking around oxygen starved, and so for the hour that we breathe with the same thing with you, but the hour that we breathe in this conscious breath work, we're breathing prana. We're breathing full out energy for an hour. So we are flushed out. We are full of life. We are full of vitality and creativity. It opens up creativity and our opening ways to see things that we would not have seen if we hadn't imposed all of this incredible amount of beauty in ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's where the forgiveness comes in, is that the breath work helps us open up to ways that we've never looked at, because we we have always lived in a certain shell that had limitations, and breath work goes beyond all those limitations. It helps us feel in fact, by the second breathwork session, I had an experience where I didn't even feel my body. I was like an expanded consciousness from that time. Some people, it's not that they have to feel that, because you have a full experience without it. But that was something that I had never had before. And I'm thinking, wow. So anyway, I think I got off track a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
But
no, that's okay.
this conscious breathing, it's a conscious connected circular breathing, and it is mainstream. I think Dr. Andrew Weil is one of the people who made, I think he's one of the first people to have really focused on breath work. He says as much as 50% of major illnesses is due to people not breathing optimally, and he says that that's conservative. So 50% of major illnesses, because organs run on oxygen, they don't run on food. So if we're doing that 20 to 30%, then we're really, our bodies cannot possibly do the healing that they are capable of, mentally and physically. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. So yeah,
Yeah.
we are breath coach, and I also consider ourselves forgiveness coach, right? Because a big part of breath work, particularly in the beginning, the first year, forgiveness is such a huge part of it to help move forward and let go of the past and create integration. So I want to start from the beginning. I'm a Virgo. I like to be very practical. So I want to ask you, what do you mean about forgiveness? What does forgiveness mean to you?
Okay. My company is called the Joyful Life Project. Mm-hmm. And I believe that forgiveness is joy. I think it's impossible to feel real joy without forgiveness, and of many things. I mean, I'm starting with yourself for sure, but I'm not saying we have to forgive everybody and be perfect. That's not what I'm talking about. It just is part of it. But forgiveness literally means to let go. In fact, I heard you mention that I was an elder, so I have some biblical understanding. And one of the things that Jesus talked about most of any subject was forgiveness. And when he was using it, he was saying it meaning to let go, to loosen, or to untie. That's what it meant back then. And so when people use when they use the word forgiveness, they think it's efforty, they think it's hard, they think I have to be a doormat and say, all right, it's fine. No, it's none of that. It's our willingness to be happy, our willingness to be free. And but it's our choice, because nobody can possibly do that's more, we're in charge of our thoughts and our choices. So there's nothing anybody can do that we can't make a different choice on, because we're in charge every moment, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Forgiveness is super important. There's also Course in Miracles is my baby. I do it it's my life. And the main purpose of life is forgiveness, the Course says. And I think it's mentioned in probably almost every religion that I know of. Is forgiveness, meaning to see beyond the person's mistakes. Because if we're not, I don't believe that who we are is who we are. I don't think what we see we are. I think who we truly are is unseeable. It's the essence inside of us that is the beautiful divinity, and that's the one that's in charge. And when we move the ego out of the way, or the one that does the choices based on this world, we can see some things that are there. For instance, God is in everything. Or even if you get rid of the word God, there is goodness in everything. If love is all there is, love is in everything. That means everything, even people we don't like. And so our job is to say, okay, if we don't like them, then that's our choice of not liking them. What would it be like if I saw beyond that, if I saw their divinity? Okay, that would be great, but I don't like him, so how do I do that? And so that's where I kind of help people, guide them along. Hold on, I was going to make a point there. Sorry, I lost it.
No, that's okay. Oh, so, okay.
Go ahead. This morning, I was thinking about it on my drive. I think the easiest way to explain it is we walk through life with this huge bag of rocks that we think is normal, because this bag of rocks are our resentment, our anger, our bitterness, all the things that judgments we've made in the past. And when we carry over time, it really is hard on our bodies. I mean, physically hard, because that you probably have heard of cortisol. Cortisol it's not, yes, it's part of our bodies. We do need some of it, but it's not a good thing to have too much of. And we hold that in our liver. Cortisol comes from resentment. That's one of the places we hold anger, is in our liver. So that's an example of when we have too much. And when people have been resentful or anger over a long period of time, wow, it's like a slow drip in their immune system their whole lives, and they're used to it. And then when they get older, they wonder why they have heart problems, or they wonder why they have cirrhosis of the liver or thyroid problems, or whatever it is. It's most of the time related to this immune deficiency, based on the fact that we're not living a fluid, open life that allows all the goodness in, and without resentments at all.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like you, I also use the Course in Miracles. And for those who don't know what the Course in Miracles is a beautiful, beautiful book that is also a forgiveness. Yes, thank you for showing that. It teaches us the true meaning of forgiveness, the true meaning of healing. And it also helped me tremendously. And I use it in my sessions with clients all the time. And in the Course in Miracles, it talks about forgiveness is the key to happiness, right? And so that is a great reason just to forgive, is to be happy, because we forgive others. We're forgiving for ourselves so we can be free. And it also talks about forgiveness as a choice. So when someone starts to do breath work and they start to become aware of contracted areas and areas that are not flowing, there's probably some forgiveness that needs to be done there, right? And if someone is having a hard time making that choice, what would you suggest them to do if they're having a hard time forgiving something or someone?
Well, that was with my session this morning. This is exactly a great question. She was having a hard time forgiving this person who had wronged her. And so the way I do it is during the hour, a session, breathwork session is 2 hours. The first session is we talk about things and help stir up some things in the subconscious that the person may not have seen. And as breath workers, we guide them, right? We hear things, we sense things, we notice body language, all those things, and we help them pull up. And then in the hour of breath work, it will move those out. I mean, there are people that have changed their minds just with one breathwork session. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but it's possible because I've seen it. But what it'll do is it'll give them hope, and it'll help them see, like I said, one of the things it does is increase creativity. So it helps people see outside those limiting beliefs that they've always known. They can't imagine their mother, being nice to them. They can't imagine anyone treating them like they matter, because that's all they've ever known. Or this is an example. But during a breathwork session, you feel so loved and loving, and you don't feel walls, and you feel peace and joy and contentment, all of those things. And from that space, the openness that you have opened during a breathwork session, that space is the uncontracted space. And from that space, then we can do the work. And I would never recommend anyone doing a forgiveness process who hadn't done the breath work first, because they have to feel what it feels like to be free. And that's one of the things that breath work does. It helps us feel free, right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. And something you said, a lot of times people will blame other people for why they're feeling bad. Like someone who's had some, like this mother example or whatever. But anyway, they'll blame somebody else for how bad they feel rather than taking responsibility for making another choice. And the fact is, it can be literally as simple as making another choice. And I'll ask the person, who would you be if you weren't angry at your mother? Who would you be if you weren't angry at your sister?
Mm-hmm.
Not that you have to hang out with somebody every day if they were mean or whatever. I'm not saying that, but just to drop our judgment, because we're responsible for our perspective, not theirs. That's theirs. We're responsible for ours.
Exactly.
Yeah, like we
So,
can make. Mhm.
okay, so let's go over again. I like, let's get down to the technology, the technology of it. How does circular breathing promotes forgiveness? How does it facilitate forgiveness?
The main thing it does is it shows our body mind a different way to be, because our body mind, this is a somatic experience, body mind and spirit, right? So at the end of the hour, all three are aligned. Our body and our mind and our spirit or heart, whatever, are all aligned. They're all on board. Oh yeah, this feels good to feel good. I want more of this. And so when we feel that, and then we explain that the forgiveness tool, there's a few tools that we use, that once people have this experience of expanded consciousness, you physically have the experience of expanded consciousness. When you have that, then you can understand how something more is possible. But it's hard to tell somebody that you can feel better if they've always been angry. It just is. It just is. But when you teach the body mind, like forget the logic, just put your logic out and up, let it go, put it in the chair. But when we teach our body mind that it can feel different and it will feel different, then it'll listen. So that's my answer.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I agree, and I see that, breath work expands the mind and it creates the space for the person to choose again. Choose again. So yeah, thank you for that. So you wrote a book on forgiveness, right? It's called The Other F Word. How did that book come about?
That as you said, I've been doing this for a long time, and I had so many people doing the forgiveness processes and breath work together, and I saw these amazing transformations. I mean, breath work is. I mean, forgiveness is just it's dynamite. Divine dynamite, maybe you can call that, or the master erase, as I've heard it. It will just erase all that. All right, so I started noticing all these stories, and I'm thinking, I want to record these because I want people to know that this forgiveness is measurable. Like in a scientific experiment, it has to be used the same thing, and you see the same results over and over again. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm seeing the same results over and over again from this process. So this story is the one that did it. I said, okay, I gotta write this down. I had a client who was in her early 40s, successful businesswoman. She had about 2 years, she had married a man who she really loved, and it was great. Had a son, 16-year-old son. And she came and she said that she had had two bad marriages, like disastrous marriages, and she's crazy about this guy, and she did not want to have this marriage end up the way the other two had. So she was there for a preventative method. I love it when people do that. Anyway, so I said, great, let's do it. So when I was talking to her in that first hour, I heard little things about, I could tell she hadn't forgiven her father. I could just sense it. And when I mentioned to her that everything unresolved with your parents comes up in your relationships, she said, oh, it's fine. We have, that was years ago about my dad, what he did years ago. We're great now. And what had happened is that he was a blue-collar worker, worked in a factory. They were dirt poor, and there were 3 kids, or 2 kids, I forgot. And he would take it out on them, not physically, but verbally. He would blame his terrible life. He'd come home at night. If I didn't have you kids, I wouldn't have to do this terrible job I hate. And he was just angry, and he blamed it on them. And they felt that was all their fault. His dream was a Corvette. Of course, they could barely afford shoes, so forget the Corvette, right? So fast forward. So I think that maybe why this woman was so successful. She overcompensated for the childhood thing. So, okay, fine. She said, no, I'm fine. I don't want to do it. The next time she came, and I could sense the same thing, and I repeated, you remember, you're here to help your relationship, da-da-da. Well, my dad and I, we had lunch every Sunday. We're really friends. I was really, no, she said no. The third time, she and her husband had started having problems. This is the husband she loved. And this work brings up stuff to be healed, right? So she said, and I said, are you ready to do the forgiveness on your dad? Okay, I'll do it. Well, this process takes a week, this particular one. That's why it's called the other F word, 7 days to forgiving anyone, because there are many ways to do the forgiveness. You pick one, but this just happens to be one that I use. So 7 days, and it takes, so she finished on Friday. And on Monday morning, her mother called her and said, I don't know what's come over your father, but he's just called and ordered a brand new red Corvette. Do you get it? He was released energetically from the anger and the guilt that he had felt all those. He didn't even know she was doing this forgiveness on him. She didn't mention it to him. He could feel it being released. So he ordered the car he had wanted when he was when the kids were young. Anyway, so when I first I thought, wow, all these years nothing changed. She does the forgiveness process, ends it on Friday. Monday, the dad's, oh, and by the way, the 16-year-old started eating with them at the dinner table too. So all of her relationships with men changed after that. So this forgiveness process was measurable in my perception. And so I started noticing over and over and over again. It was just like all over the place. So I have people forgive their parents, their siblings, but I mean also things like money. They can forgive money if they're having money problems. They can forgive their culture. I've seen people, oh my gosh, who they're carrying their cultural mind, maybe their feelings of lack or their feelings of not feeling good enough, unworthy, all of those things. And it's really remarkable to see when people forgive their culture, what a difference it makes.
Yeah.
I forgave a political party once. Many years ago, I saw a particular sign on the back of cars, and every time this sign would go back on decal, I could feel my blood pressure rise, and I could feel the anger rise in me. And I'm thinking, no, my main goal every day is peace. And if anything disturbs my peace, I do something about it. And so I finally said, I got to do something about this. So I went and did a forgiveness process on that political party. And I'm not saying that I love them. That's not what the forgiveness is about. It's about, I don't feel that charge anymore. So anyway.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's exactly how I see it. Forgiveness creates miracles every day. They could be big miracles, it could be little miracles, but by releasing that charge that was suppressed, right, it creates an integration of mind, body, and spirit, and you can be fully present and continuously choose peace and choose peace again. That's beautiful. So I want to ask Juliana lives in Nashville, right, Juliana? And
yes.
you do monthly group reads every month, or how often do you teach your classes?
Well, I do group breathes regularly, and I do breathwork training classes once a year. I'm doing one again next spring. And I do water breathwork trainings each summer. I'm doing a prosperity and breathwork course this fall. So there's, yes, I do. Beautiful. Because it's like the whole purpose of what you were saying, this whole reason of this recording, breathwork enhances everything. And if we have limitations on any of our thoughts, add breathwork to it. I'm an artist, and I've had art in breathwork classes. It's awesome to see what people paint after doing a breathwork session. Yeah. Or songwriters. I'm here in Nashville. I've had so many songwriters do great songs after a breathwork session.
Yeah.
I know, it's just, it makes everything better. Yeah.
Yeah, it creates such an expansion. So thank you so much. And your website is breathworks.net, is it?
No, that's the old one. It's the one I've had for the last 5 years is thejoyfullifeproject.com.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it. And then my Breathe to Heal is my Facebook page. And I'm very, very active on that, and it gives all my local events are changed regularly with that. So
very good.
That's it.
So thank you, Juliana, for talking about forgiveness and giving time out of your busy schedule to chat with me. Yes, I see a greater vision for breathwork, and I want to create more and more visibility for this incredible work. So we have a few minutes left. Is there any final thoughts on forgiveness you'd like to share?
It's about being present. we talk about breath work is about being present. But when we are not forgiving whoever, us, ourselves, other people, whatever, we're carrying the past with us. You're going through the past to be present, so you're not present at all. So the way to be truly present is to forgive. Forgive, 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 forgive. Let go, let go, let go. Because you're doing it for you. I mean, us. I'm saying you because I'm talking to you. But
I
we're
know.
doing to become happier,
Yeah.
to become more present, and to become healthier. Because holding all those resentments, it ruins our health. So that's the main thing I want to get across.
Yes.
We're doing it for us. Yeah.
Yes, we do it for ourselves. Thank you so much. Yes, the more we forgive, the more freedom we feel, the more happy we feel, and the more present we can be, you know. So thank you for holding the fork for breath work over there in Nashville. I am teaching breath work also every week here in Delray Beach, South Florida. And I have some other events coming up, so stay connected. My website is suladepala.com. And if you are a breath worker and you want to come on board and chat with me, just send me a message. So yeah, breath work creates miracles and a shift in consciousness. And how does it get even better than that? So Juliana, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you do and all the light that you share with the world. Your book is called The Other F Word. And is that on Amazon?
It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and it's in local bookstores in Nashville.
Okay, beautiful. Juliana Erickson, The Other F Word, which is a very cool title.
Well,
I love it.
because most people get angry. You know, some people, I would not even mention forgiveness in the first couple of sessions because they're so angry at that person, they won't come back. So, So I know. I know when to mention it and when not to mention it.
Beautiful. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a beautiful day. And thank you, Nidia, for being here with us. And if you have any questions about breathwork, please let us know. We are here to serve you and expand the knowledge of breathwork across the globe. So thank you. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.
Bye-bye.